The origin of life on Earth is a mystery that has puzzled scientists for centuries. The prevailing theory is that life began around 4 billion years ago, in the form of simple, single-celled organisms that eventually evolved into the diverse array of life forms we see today. While scientists have yet to determine exactly how life originated on Earth, there are several theories that have been proposed. One of them is that life began through abiogenesis, the process by which life arises from non-living matter. According to this theory, the conditions on the early Earth were favorable for the formation of simple organic compounds, which eventually led to the formation of more complex molecules and the emergence of life. Another idea is that life was brought to Earth by comets or meteorites containing the building blocks of life. The emergence of life on Earth is a rare occurrence, given that the odds of it appearing on our planet are incredibly slim. The habitable zone for liquid water is relatively narrow, and on Earth, it's between approximately 0 to 100 degrees Celsius, with the sweet spot being around 15 to 30 degrees Celsius, where water is liquid most of the time. Add the presence of the right elements and a host of other factors to this equation, and the odds don't look good. But despite this, life on Earth not only appeared, but thrived. So, if life on our planet isn't a mistake, but rather a systematic phenomenon, why couldn't it also have emerged on other worlds? Could it be that the universe is teeming with life, and we simply haven't found it yet? We've only started to realize just how versatile life can be. Scientists have long been interested in the possibility of hypothetical forms of life based on different chemical systems, such as silicon-based life forms. Such scientific speculations are referred to as weird life hypotheses. But if you consider that silicon is abundant in the universe, making up 30% of the Earth's crust and being 150 times more common than carbon, the idea might not be so weird after all. While life on Earth is known to incorporate silicon in various forms, there have been no known instances of carbon and silicon being chemically bonded together in natural life forms. However, scientists have been able to artificially create such molecules never seen before in nature. They're known as organosilicon compounds and have been achieved through a process called directed evolution. This method involves manipulating microbes to create desired molecules and has been used in the past to create household goods, environmentally friendly industrial products, and more. So perhaps we shouldn't look for life as we know it, but life as we don't know it. So far, it all just seems like pure speculation. But take a closer look at Earth and the variety of strange creatures that exist here. Methane iceworms are 2.5 to 5 centimeter flat, pinkish creatures that live on a slab of methane ice located at the bottom of the sea near the coast of Mexico, and scientists believe this is a new species. Interestingly, Saturn's moon Titan has seas made of methane, and if a mission to explore Titan's seas is conducted, it's possible to find creatures similar to the methane iceworms in those seas. And what about giant tube worms? These creatures can reach 2.1 meters in length and are found living deep beneath the ocean, a mile below the ocean's surface, in an area of extreme pressure. They're usually found at the edges of volcanic vents, known as black smokers, where temperatures can be extremely hot. They feed on sulfides that are delivered to them by local bacteria. The worms have an abundance of blood vessels which give their tips a bright red color. Giant tube worms are able to thrive in environments with extreme heat and pressure, unlike most living organisms. They do this by feeding on sulfides which are abundant in places like Venus, where it's possible for iron sulfide to snow. This raises the question of whether these worms could survive on Venus, with its unique conditions of heat, pressure, and sulfide-rich atmosphere. And if that's not interesting enough, there's a pool of seawater beneath the ice in Antarctica teeming with the iron-eating microbes that have adapted to survive in an environment without light or oxygen. The microbes gain energy from chemical compounds completely different from those that all other earthly creatures use. This makes them unique, and it raises the possibility that similar creatures could survive in environments like the iron-rich oceans of Jupiter's moon Europa, which is covered in thick ice. And then there are ice worms, found on glaciers from Oregon to Alaska. Iceworms are sensitive creatures that resemble earthworms but are much smaller, measuring about 2.5 centimeters long at most. They're thin, delicate, and can only survive within a narrow temperature range. They can freeze and perish if the temperature drops below 0 degrees Celsius and melt at temperatures above 4.4 degrees Celsius. To survive, they stay within glacier ice during the day and move to the surface at night. The worms feed on algae and other organic materials found on glaciers, and it's believed that they burrow within the ice and snow for insulation during the winter. Unlike most cold-blooded creatures, iceworms do not become sluggish or dormant in cold temperatures. Instead, their energy levels increase. This phenomenon is paradoxical and not well understood. But scientists believe iceworms are able to survive in freezing temperatures by utilizing an extra bit in their DNA that creates ATP synthase, an enzyme that's responsible for creating ATP, the currency of energy in cells. This alteration helps speed up the production of ATP, allowing them to maintain high energy levels and survive in icy environments where other creatures cannot. Another strange thing is melanin is present throughout the body of iceworms, including in the brain, gut, and muscles. Studies have suggested that melanin may have the capability to gather energy from solar radiation in some cases, and some scientists think this may be the case with iceworms. If such fragile organisms can survive these extremely harsh conditions, it all comes down to adaptation. Now, we know it's possible that life began somewhere else and was later transported to Earth on a meteorite where conditions allowed it to thrive and develop. But to make this idea seem more promising, we need proof of organisms that can withstand the harsh conditions of space. Scientists have tried to find such a proof. The German Aerospace Center conducted an experiment called BioMex, exposing organisms such as bacteria, algae, lichens, and fungi to conditions similar to Mars aboard the International Space Station. The organisms were grown in Martian soil simulants and then exposed in the Expose R2 facility on the outside of the space station. The goal was to see if life could survive in Mars-like conditions. The organisms placed in the Expose R2 facility outside the space station for 18 months showed impressive resistance to radiation and returned to Earth as survivors from space. And this means the organisms and biomolecules could potentially survive on Mars. And these aren't the only living things that survived outer space. Water bears, also known as tardigrades, are small, segmented animals that can live in a wide range of temperatures and can survive without water for up to 10 years. They're also highly resistant to radiation. They can be typically found in ponds, droplets of water in soil, and on moist plants. The largest species of water bear is approximately 1 millimeter in length. Water bears have the ability to enter a state of suspended animation called TUN, during which they can survive extreme temperatures and even the vacuum of space. This was discovered when some tardigrades were sent out on a space mission in 2008. With the analysis of the tardigrade genome, scientists may uncover the secrets of its superpower, leading to the possibility to adapt this feature for long space travel. But most importantly, tardigrades' ability to survive in vacuum also suggests that other organisms may have similar abilities to drift through space. Scientists have managed to use their understanding of the basic elements and components needed for life to create testable hypotheses through experimentation on Earth. We've also discovered creatures with unusual body properties and an extraordinary ability to survive in extremely difficult conditions. So, even if life is nowhere to be found in the universe, with our technology, curiosity, and experiments, maybe someday we'll be able to grow new life forms ourselves and populate other planets with them. Nature and evolution will then do the rest.